a day in the life of Mick Todd just doesn't make sense without this man next to me here, Ben Corrigan, owner, founder of Bluehaus Group, our longest standing corporate client, great friend. We've just spent some time laughing together just now, and I think that punctuates our relationship. And where I really wanted to talk to Ben today is just about the holistic nature of, because people ask, what's the value of coaching and what's the impact of it? You know, I think for someone we've been engaged for over 10 years now on lots of different projects and life, and it's been personal, professional, and team and organisation, and cascaded out over so far. So I think if I just hit the ball across the net to you around that, well, what have you taken out of it?
Well, as you say, we've worked together for over a decade, so there's a lot to talk about. But if I try and break it into three parts, if you like, when we first started working together, I'd never been coached. I didn't know what to expect. It was the GFC. We knew we had a great business, and that's when we came together. And you used a word that I think solved the whole process to me, which was rituals. You know, driving a rituals-based culture within a business is much more human, and I liked that. And I didn't know what to expect. And we started working together in 2010. And you don't know what you don't know, right? And I think what a big part of coaching is being open-minded, particularly as a founder or an owner of a business, is swallowing a lot of ego, allowing someone else to come in and bounce ideas around and talk about different things. But I also think as a leader, and the old cliche, it's lonely at the top, sort of applies. And it's good to have a coach, somebody to go to talk about. And I think, talking about our journey, the second part to our journey, I suppose, is the many years in between, and then we'll come on to where we are today. So it has been a 10-year journey, and as I touched on this, it surprised me. There's so much more to it than I ever thought. So although we've coached together and I've worked with your amazing team, the community, I think, is a big part, particularly as men. I think the community that we have around the coaching, from business leaders to directors and founders and entrepreneurs and what have you, and that, I think, has been incredible, and it is incredible on a daily basis. So there's the one-on-one coaching, which is amazing. There's the group coaching, which we do in Bluehaus Group, which is amazing for particularly my senior leadership team, but also the wider team. There's the community aspect, and then obviously there's the trips, such as the annual leadership trip to Thailand, and I'm taking on the coaching accreditation now. So that's incredible. And if I look at where the third part to that, I suppose, if I look at where we are today, having worked together for 10 years, Bluehaus Group has never been in a better position, even with the pandemic. We achieved world-class rating and validation from Gallup after a 5-year journey, which we started in 2016. And having that world-class culture has certainly helped us navigate this, what is our third crisis as a business, by having the right team in the right places. It certainly does help. So, it's hard to define 10 years of coaching and coaching experience in a collection of words, but it's certainly something we wouldn't operate without.
Yeah, it's a really interesting piece, and Ben, you really landed on something I think is important. Gallup has studied organisations in crisis. You said this is the third crisis that you've navigated in this region. Gallup studied organisations in crisis since the Great Depression, and the data that comes out of it is employee engagement and client experience are the two things that best point to how well you come out the other end. And so one of my proudest moments was the level employee engagement that we achieved.
Yeah.
And in some ways, not despite the crisis, but because of it. One of the things that you and I talk about a lot is crisis doesn't develop character; it simply reveals it.
Yeah.
And the character in this business is something that I'm incredibly proud of. The fact that you're strength-based as well, and when you talk about that community, I'm an includer number one, so that's a really natural state for me. And knowing your strengths as well, and then the strengths of your organisation, it's been something that's just been I'm so proud to be part of. And that part's fantastic, but then to have you as a mate as well, and the amount of time we laugh together as well is really important. I think to take air out of the tyres when we need to take air out of the tyres. So great, mate, and let's look forward to where the next part of the journey takes us.
Absolutely, fantastic.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mick.